Uh, Felt good. Definitely felt like a slight new feeling for me. Just getting back in that mentality, that zone. But definitely felt good to be back out there.
Marcus, a lot of the talk leading up to tonight was just with Luka and Austin out, how it's going to take everybody. And you see all 5 starters in double digits and the bench making contributions as well. How was tonight a example of that rhetoric that you guys have been talking about?
We just showed it. You just said it. Every starter's in double digit. Our bench doing what they do, but I think it's it was never just one person at a time, right? We tried to play through the hot guy at the time, and then just make the right plays. And I think we did a great job at that. Obviously, we can be better. I think we had 21 turnovers. I had 5 of myself, but for me, to be able to play those positions with the guys out there, to have Luke take over, with some of the ball handling, have LeBron, I think that shows right there the collectiveness that we are together.
Okay, what pleased you the most about the way your team played? Because in every game there's always ups and downs and ups and downs. But what pleased you the most about getting through those ups and downs?
Just our ability to stay poised. You're playing against a really good team out there who does a really good job of mucking up the game, and seeing who's the toughest team, right? And, it got a little chippy out there, a couple technicals called, and I think, for me and for this team to be able to stay as poised as we did, I think that was the part for me that really stood out and was like, okay, I think we're ready, and it's going to be a good one, and as long as we can continue to do that, I think we'll be in good shape.
Thank you.
Hello, over here. Hi. I was just talking to one of the guys who hadn't been in the playoffs before, and he said he was really nervous going on the court. Coach keeps talking about you as, veteran presence, guys showing guys what to do. How much of that is individual, you pulling guys aside, and how much of it is like collective just in the room?
A lot of it's pulling them guys to the side. Ironically, a lot of the guys are actually pulling me to the side, right? Asking me questions. And, they want to learn. And that's something about this young group that the guys that are on that bench that, haven't been in the playoffs. I think that right there shows, the work that we put in as a team. The trust that they have in me as a vet to be able to lead them in that way, right? So it's definitely been a little bit of both, but definitely the guys have been on their own doing it, pulling me aside. So I commend them for that.
What kinds of questions, though? Is it like specific X and O stuff, or is it more just like, how do I do this kind of thing?
It's a little bit of everything, but mostly on the defensive end. The reads that I see, the plays that I make, and basically, how do I guard guys? I'm not considered a great defender. How can I, they're not. Yeah, that's what they're saying to me. They're not considered a great defender, so they're trying to get little tips to figure out how to play defense, right? So I'm just trying to do my best to not only show by example, but also, teach them and verbally, right?
Hey, Marcus, not trying to get too far ahead of anything. It's only one game, but I remember back in 2018, you was with a shorthanded team as far as stars go. Gordon wasn't there the whole season. Kyrie was there, but he didn't play in the playoffs with y'all. That was a conference finals run for that team. Like, what can you take from that experience to what this team is going through, at least to start this postseason?
Resiliency. That 18 team, we were resilient. We were, no matter who we had on the floor, we're going to make sure we go out there and give it everything we had. And we're in the same scenario here. Our 2 best players get hurt, right? And we got to show how resilient we are, especially against a team that's going to come out and make you prove it. So I think that right there is the equivalent of that 18 season that I had and the ability to be able to bounce back under this adversity that we're going through. And that's what makes this team dangerous.
Marcus, earlier in the season, you talked about what it was like to be on this side with LeBron after all your battles through the years. What's it like to be on this side with playoff LeBron, and what's sort of the week been like, just going through preparation with him in practice and then seeing it tonight, the way he controlled the game?
I mean, it's been great. I mean, being able to see, why, he's considered, one of the greatest to do it, the way that he prepares for the playoffs, it's a whole different mentality for him, right, than the regular season. And we see it, you guys see it, but as a teammate, to be able to be there watching him get prepared, watching the things he's doing to get himself ready, I'm glad I'm on his side this time.
Hey, Marcus, you had a bunch of straight line drives to go along with the 8 assists. You led the team in free throw attempts. How much do you feel like it's your responsibility to be someone that goes at their on-ball pressure with force, counters it with force?
It's important for me, especially without, the two guys, Luka and Austin. We're short on, ball handlers and guys who can create not just for themselves but for others, right? So, the team, they lean on me a lot for that, and just to be able to do it. So constantly my teammates, coaching staff is telling me be aggressive, either that's for you or for your teammates, but continue to be aggressive. And that's something I have to do. I haven't always been asked to play that role. And I think that's what makes me unique. I'm a Swiss Army knife, so kind of do a little bit of everything. So hopefully we can keep it up, and hopefully I can continue to stay in that mentality and that mode.
And Marcus, back to LeBron, the fact that he didn't play as if he had to do everything to compensate without Luka and Austin, what ways do you think that set the tone to ensure that team balance?
Well, first off, it's just his IQ, right? He picks and chooses when to exert energy, and he knows when to exert the energy, right? But I think it just speaks volume of who he is and who he's always been, a leader. He instills trust in his guys, right? The word we're using now is elevate, right? He elevates us, to see a guy, of his status being able to, turn down shots to get other guys going. And then, like I said, picking and choosing when it's his time, it just, it helps us a lot, and it just shows his greatness. Thanks, Marcus. Thank you, guys. And by the way, that 18 season was against Bron.